If you're doing videography, there is something you're likely going to use, a field monitor. Now, a field monitor obviously helps you see your screen a lot better and tune your settings exactly the way you want. But I'm going to tell you a few things that I've noticed that help me a lot while recording, that make my life a lot easier, in post-production and also just in general when I'm in the field. First off, one of the biggest ones is to have a vertical frame overlay. We're in the day and age now that doing reels and TikToks is very important. And if you have a field monitor that is capable of doing a vertical frame overlay, heck, if you want to even put tape on your field monitor to allow yourself to be able to gauge where your framing will be, it'll make your life a lot easier when you're doing post and want to put some reel or something together from a horizontal video. This will allow you to keep whatever you're recording in the center, and trust me, it'll make your life a whole lot easier. One thing that would help along with this is a center frame marker. Usually it's like an X or a plus sign. You keep the X or plus sign on your subject at all times, and that'll allow it to be in center since this will be the center frame marker. Another big one is a histogram. A histogram basically lets you gauge your brights and darks. So when you're exposing for things like C-Log or different settings where you are in different types of light, it'll tell you accordingly where the exposure is going and just make life a lot easier so you can expose for that clip. So for example, you're doing something really dark, it'll be to one side, and then if you're really bright, it'll be on the other side. If it's somewhere in the middle and not to one side entirely, then that'll mean you have a correctly exposed image. Another is zebras, and this goes along with histogram, which allows you to see the overexposed parts. Zebras usually go over like those bright white parts that will indicate exactly what, and that'll determine exactly when it's to be toned down. So if those zebras go away, at least for the most part, then that means at least there's not a fully white part. Obviously, for things that are like white, like a wall or a sign, for example, will pretty much not ever have the zebras go away. But for things that are not supposed to be fully white or fully bright, then the zebras are meant to show exactly where that is happening. Another one that I really like, especially because I usually record sound with my stuff, is audio levels. Some field monitors may or may not have this, but if you get one that has some of the features I mentioned previously, it'll likely have this feature. Audio levels basically mean that even if you're using a mic or not, this will at least give you a gauge of what the field monitor is taking in and allow you to adjust your sound accordingly. The worst thing is not having good sound and realizing you can't fix it later in post. Obviously, if you have 32-bit float, you're probably going to have an easier job, but it's still something nice to have. It's something that's still nice to have properly right out of camera, just you don't have to go and fix it later on. This is kind of a bonus because you don't really need it, but it is a very, very nice to have, is a LUT input. So some field monitors, especially the more higher end ones or the more professional ones, will allow you to put a LUT into it. This allows you to put a small micro SD or SD card or some kind of input that will put whatever look you're trying to go for onto the field monitor. So if you're recording something in C-Log or if in any other setting and you want to see what it look like when you edit it together and want to almost expose or do things accordingly based on that, it'll give you a way to do that right in the field monitor. Note, most of the time, it's not going to record like that. I don't know if that's going to be a feature for some field monitors, but as of right now, I know it just shows you, but it doesn't actually put it together in the actual field monitor itself. It is very nice to have though, because you can do a lot of good things right on set instead of having to do it all in post, and instead of realizing you might have to change something on set instead. These are personally a few I like to have on my field monitor. There's other ones that you might like as well, and there's definitely a whole bunch that I didn't cover in this, but these are some of the best ones to have it in my opinion, just to get the best image quality possible. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see another cool one, be sure to look at this one over here because I think you'll really enjoy it, or check out the channel for some of the cool content. I hope to see you next video, and if you want to message me on social media, be sure to look right over here. Hope to see you next video. Peace.